like just like make like the whole thing a bit dark because I wanted it to be a darker image, like more like an like she said omniscient.
Okay.
Like an ominous,
Like I was gonna
like darker.
darken it, and then I was gonna like create a background layer and cut this out.
You're right. You're on the right. You totally are on the right path. That's like what I was going to do too. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'll make a couple copies of it. And this is kind of like what we did with the black and white and made the flowering color. It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, that's what I did for a couple of
So if you want, like, if we want to make like the background a lot darker, what I'll do is I'll go to image adjustment and I'll just bring the brightness way down, and maybe we'll kind of play with this.
Like I wanted to keep it like clear, but like just darken it just a little bit, you know.
So then, I mean, we could draw a shape, but basically what we want to do now is erase through this darker layer and bring out what's going on here to make this
like that.
pop. Okay.
And then like I was thinking like
Which
after I do that, like I wanted to make it like a layer or two where like yeah, it's like that, but I wanted originally I was gonna take this and brighten it a little bit. So like just like this part of it, and then so that way like this is bright, but the background's back.
Right, the background's.
Darker,
So if I up the brightness now, and maybe like the contrast a little bit here, like I did that to this layer that was underneath, but you're only seeing what I've cut through. Like I cut a hole through this darker layer.
Yeah.
So you're only seeing that part. So that's kind of what. Very quick. I mean, you could take a lot longer and really
like
cut.
fine-tune it.
Yeah, fine tune it. And I'm doing it more like a blurred. Like a blurred eraser right here, like a really soft eraser. But if you wanted to really come in here, and like so you could take like this polygon lasso tool because most of this stuff is straight. Let me pull in this snap here so I can get really close. But most of these edges are straight down here. So like if I wanted to do a line and cut from here to here, so that it's like like a perfect edge, we can cut out this way. But now this is gonna, you can see like this is gonna take a long time to get it perfect. But if I just I'll just stop there to show you. If I come back over here and I'm gonna close this shape, and now I hit delete, like it will cut out right along that edge. So let me step back and we'll actually cut it out of. We want to like inverse that. So let me do this. I'm going to flip the selection around. So now I've got kind of this. Now if I hit delete, I keep being on the wrong.
I made a couple of those mistakes and I kind of.
So I cut out right there, versus I cut out the rest of it too, but because that's what I didn't want to spend the time cutting that out. But now if we let's say, okay, I'll kind of zoom in so that we're kind of just looking at what's going on over here. Okay, you imagine we did that to the whole thing. But now if we do anything to this background layer, so like we could even adjust the brightness more, like we're doing it independently of what's happening here.
That's
so
crazy.
So that's pretty cool. So
awesome.
If you wanted to also maybe do it's kind of blurry right now because you have a shallow depth of field, but you can push that even more. So we could go blurry.
I was looking for that the other day.
And
I didn't know where it was.
there's a lot of different blurs, but this Gaussian blur, I can up this more and see how that's getting blurry, blurrier in the background. So that's the before and then after. We need to cut that out.
Make
that
it
would
more
be,
precise. And
yeah,
everything. Okay.
yeah. But that's what you would do.
Yeah, because I wanted to make the book I wanted to I know that this picture I was gonna do make a lot of edits. I was gonna make a lot. I originally I was gonna take this, brighten the whole picture. So and then I was just gonna have this top look just completely independently have that brighten, have this brighten, but not as much. But then this dark, so it goes from light, bright, kind of bright, and then dark. So that way this can really pop, but it also just blends together.
So if you cut these three things out and you have them each on their own layer, then you can independently manipulate whatever. So let's just do this real quick. I'll just go here, this first layer. think that's one thing. So I'm going to copy and paste that. To here.
No, I'm seriously confused. Me too.
Okay, so now that's its own thing. So anything I do to that just affects that.
Oh.
So it's just those books are becoming brighter or darker.
And it's not affecting the whole thing.
It's not affecting the whole thing. Yeah.
That actually opens up a lot of things.
Yeah, that's when it starts to get fun because then you're just picking parts that you want to manipulate.
So what was the highlight tool that you used?
I was basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to cut like a chunk of this out, and what I was just using right there was this. Like there's the lasso where you can kind of freehand draw,
Right.
And then because a lot of those lines are straight, if I right click this, there's this thing called the polygon lasso tool, and it'll allow me to draw a shape. Yeah, straight
Oh,
lines.
I see. Gotcha.
Oh, it's not where it's not like an uneven because your hands are shaky. and
Right,
stuff.
right. It's like it's straight lines. So now anything you have selected, if I do this, you wouldn't want to do this. But now if I do brightness, it'll just brighten what's selected. But I went one step further and kind of copied and pasted this set of books. That way I always have that there and I can keep messing with it.
And how did you said you inverted it? So you selected, you isolated that one
So
piece.
if I have like let's say I have this selected, okay, and so when I go and I do an adjustment here, like it's only affecting what's happening within that square.
Right.
But let's say I actually want everything but the square. I went up to select and I did an inverse, so I'm flipping it.
Gotcha.
So now,
Turn it inside out.
yeah, it's basically turning it inside
Selecting.
out. So now when I do this, it does everything but the square.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that'll happen sometimes, like when we did that person. It's like sometimes you want to cut out the person out, but then sometimes you want to, select everything but the person. So
Right.
it just kind of depends what you want to do.
That makes because I was thinking I'm like